Hi, I'm Andre and I'm a black Smurf. I'm gonna give you the good, I'm gonna give you the bad, I'm gonna give you the nerdy of Smurfs The Lost Village. This will be a no spoilers review. There's part of this movie I want to talk about, but I'm probably gonna save it for a spoilers talk, even though it's already out there. A lot of people already know what it is. I'm gonna give you my general impressions of the movie, and I'll talk about that other part later on. Now, I'm a huge Smurfs fan. You know this. I have been talking about Smurfs for a very long time. Even when people weren't talking about Smurfs, I was still talking about them. Have a huge Smurfs collection. I got Smurf figures, Smurf collectibles. One of my first videos on this YouTube channel was me talking about the Smurfs. I'm a big fan. So I've always wanted a really cool updated Smurfs movie. And then we got the ones with Neil Patrick Harris, which were, you know, they were what they were, but it was live action CGI, and it was the Smurfs going through a portal to come to our world, and I was like, no, that's not what I want. I want the Smurfs in Smurf Village. That's where all the action is. Why would you take the Smurfs out of this magical medieval land and put them in New York City and France? Coming over to New York going, what's a cell phone? What's a Google? No. So it is with my wonderful pleasure to tell you that Smurfs The Lost Village, which is basically a reboot again of the Smurfs franchise, this movie plays like the classic Smurfs. It feels like the comic books, it feels like the cartoon from the 80s, it feels like the true blue Smurfs. I got a lot of Peanuts movie vibes watching this thing, of a movie that was really trying to be respectful to the original source material and keep it true for the people who grew up with the franchise. The way it looks, the way the characters act, the design of the whole thing, even all the subtle things like all the animals in this world look like how they were drawn in the animated series and the comics. This movie wanted to make sure that it looked as close to the original Smurfs as possible while still having a somewhat modern update, and I can say for sure that it succeeded in that. This feels more like the Smurfs of the past than any of those other two movies ever did. Including the designs of the Smurfs themselves. They're a updated design, but they are still very reminiscent to the classic Smurfs animation, as opposed to the other Smurfs, which just was weird and they had pecs. I like the animation of these Smurfs. They're very expressive. I love the big eyes. I love that they are very, very fun and cute and just Smurfy. I don't know what else to call it. It's very Smurfy. And then that also applies to the world that they're in. Everything about this movie, animation-wise, is a beautiful spectacle. Even Hefty Smurf says one time in the movie, it's like a workout for my eyeballs, and it is. And there's no portals. There's no going to New York or France. Everything in this movie takes place in Smurf Village and in the forest leading up to the Lost Village. So you get to see the Smurfs in their natural habitat, in their Smurf world, as it should be, and that's what I'm really happy about with this movie. But yet, when they want to modernize them a little bit, they figure out some cute, creative ways of doing that. For example, there's this creature in the movie called the Snap Bug that Brainy Smurf has, and it's basically the Smurfs' organic, animalistic way of having social media, because this bug is able to do certain things that are very similar to what we can do with our phones. I won't explain too much of how it's done in the movie, but I thought it was a cute way to take a modern concept and put it in the Smurfs world, because again, that's something they used to do in the animated series. The voice cast is okay. It's basically a bunch of celebrities voicing the Smurfs just like the last time, but this time it's a whole new crop of celebrities. They replaced Katy Perry with Demi Lovato, Mandy Patinkin as Papa Smurf, Joe Manganiello as Hefty Smurf, because that makes sense, Clumsy, who was always a bumpkin back in the day. Oh, golly, Brady! We gotta pick Smurf berries for Papa Smurf! So now it's Jack McBrayer. Makes sense. But the standout for me as far as voices in this movie has to be Danny Pudi. Abed from Community. He's also on the new show Powerless. It is very, very close to how Brainy Smurf sounded in the 80s cartoon. So I thought that was a really good representation of Brainy, and I thought Danny Pudi did a really good job in that character. And I'm guessing it was Frank Welker, but whoever voiced Azrael, exactly like the cartoon, loved it. When the adventure starts, you're mostly with Smurfette, Hefty, Clumsy, and Brainy. Papa Smurf is around. You get a lot of Smurf cameos in the beginning of the movie. A cornucopia, or shall I say, a Smurfacopia of Smurfs. It's just nice to see all the different Smurfs. This is the one movie they got. I want to see as many Smurfs as I can. I know you got to focus on certain ones to keep the plot going, but when you do see the other Smurfs, they are great and they are authentic, and I really like that. So it's a fun adventure you get to see the Smurfs go through. It's a lot of, you know, oh, look at this cool thing. Oh, we're in danger. Oh, we're safe. You know, all the stuff that we typically see in these quest type movies. But when the Lost Village of Smurfs The Lost Village takes place and we meet some new characters that I will not get into because it's spoilers, but you probably know who I'm talking about, For me, that's when the movie really picks up. I believe that that element that they added to Smurfs, which is an element that's been needed for Smurfs for a very long time, that was a very interesting part to the movie because you got some interesting character development of the Smurfs and these new characters, and of course the danger they're going to be in because you know Gargamel is close by. He's always around, always causing trouble. I could totally see this being a movie that would have a sequel, or maybe this is even the introduction to a possible spin-off to a new Smurfs animated series. Yeah, man, the biggest negative that I can say about this movie, and it's not really a negative, it's just more of my experience and maybe other people's experience watching this movie. This movie is simple, it's predictable, and it is really for young people. It's for kids and it's for people who are nostalgic for the classic Smurfs and want to see a new version of the classic Smurfs. For everyone else, I don't know. I don't know how you're gonna feel. I mean, no one's asking for a dark and gritty Smurfs, but at the same time, you don't really have a strong connection, a nostalgia, or a fandom towards the Smurfs. It's beautiful, it's great eye candy, and it's fun, but it is simple, it is predictable, and you might be watching it going, I think I saw a better version of the Smurfs movie before when it was called Trolls. It's nothing against the movie itself, it just needs to be noted, this movie is literally, this is the Smurfs for the next generation. And I'm cool with that. Time for the next generation to enjoy it. Smurf it forward. But personally, it still will be the Smurfs for me because since it's so much like the old school Smurfs, I'm all like, yeah, baby, that's the Smurfs I wanted. So Smurfs The Lost Village is cute, it's fun, it has all the elements of the classic cartoon show and the comic books. I think particularly it's gonna be some good messages in this movie for young girls with the whole Smurfette story. I think it's something great that kids will enjoy, and as someone who loves and cares and deeply enjoys the Smurfs and has nostalgia for the Smurfs for so long, definitely for people who want to see a new version of the classic Smurfs. Like if you enjoyed those direct-to-DVD specials, Smurfs Christmas Carol and Legend of Smurfy Hollow, I think this fits right along the lines of those, being retro, but also doing something a little bit new. But the one thing that they really did new, I think was really awesome, and I will talk about that in the spoilers review. So let me know if you're planning on seeing Smurfs The Lost Village. Is it of interest to you? And if you don't know anything about the Smurfs and need a history lesson, go over to the Regal Movies YouTube channel. I did a special episode about Smurfs The Lost Village where I give the history of the Smurfs. And of course, subscribe to this channel so you can keep getting nerdy videos from me. Also ring that bell so you can be notified of future videos that I make. I love you like a play cousin. I'm Audi 5000 Smurf Chomp Yomp.